This is the Nerf Ultra Challenge.
Me and Eddie have got experience. We used to play this when we was younger.
I'll let the blaster do the tongs.
AFTV, we have got Turkish, and he's got a smile on his face, which I always like to see. And that's not just because he won the £200 in the AFTV picks, but also the team finally turned up Turkey today.
Yeah, they did. I can't lie to you. Like, we'll talk about the 90 minutes first, and it was a good win and definitely a better performance than we're used to this season. It was also a freshish look to the team. You know, in one way you can look at it, and before the game I saw Xhaka they're in, and I thought, oof, these are massive you're taking. But on the other hand, I saw Emile Smith-Rowe, Martinelli, Saka behind Lacazette. So I thought to myself, that's something new. It's something I wanted to see. We wanted to see. Let's see how it goes. And essentially, we got, something different, a better performance. So the smile is there because it's nice to win, and it's nice to win against the Chelsea. It wasn't nice the other day, Rob. Sitting there in front of Lewis and Craig, and the smugness and the we're gonna smoke you and all of that. It's like, it's not nice to be there in that situation, but it is what it is right now. If we can pull one out the bag like we did today, happy, enjoy, but let's not get carried away.
Yeah, I think the one thing you said there that I think is quite significant about the performance today is those young, hungry players coming in, right? So Martinelli, Smith-Rowe, Saka's always been that young, hungry guy anyway.
Yeah.
You could even put into it, he's not a young player, but it was a freshness in having Pablo Mari in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And those players just provided a little spark. It was just like, they're not the usual ones that have been in there. They provided a spark. And then they even helped the senior players, because I thought Lacazette had a really good game. All of a sudden, he had something to kind of feed off, or he could feed them. He could bring them into the game. And Xhaka had something to pass a ball forward to. And, it created a spark where even some of the players that have come under a lot of criticism like Bellerin's, and people like that, Holding, even they, I thought, put in really good performances today. But it was that spark, like you said, those young, hungry, fresh players.
Yeah, and that's what we got to look at right now, the spark. Because we can look at the other side of the coin, and there's players out there that deserve chances. We want to see, we're optimistic about, but there's also players out there that we've given enough chances to, we're fed up with, and we want to see the back of. So it's such a balance. But at the moment, we saw what we saw today against Chelsea. And like you said with Lacazette, having the three young players around him, brought something out of him too. It wasn't his greatest game, but we had runners in and around him, and we caused a lot more threat today than we have done in the past 2-3 months, maybe the whole season, to be honest.
Yeah.
Overall, there's still improvements to be made, and there's still, a big January transfer window. And it's not often I say that about a January transfer window, but it is a big one. But the positives from today is that Arteta did, come out of his comfort zone a bit with the Emile Smith-Rowe, Saka, Martinelli. Was it because his hands were tied with Willian being not suspended, but isolated? Yeah. Maybe it was, but if his hand's been forced, hopefully he learns from today, and maybe he puts a bit more faith in the youth, because it did seem to work today. And I also want to say that Chelsea don't seem like they're in a good place at the moment too, a bit inconsistent. Frank Lampard, he might be feeling the pressure. So that's part of the reason why I feel like we shouldn't get too carried away with it. I feel like Brighton and West Brom coming up, very important games.
They're massive games. But when you looked at the games, you thought to yourself, all right, we ain't going to get nothing out of Chelsea. But if anything, those two, now it gives him a little bit of a springboard, where if he could go win a couple of those, then go into January, like you said, and have a good transfer window, all of a sudden you could have a little turnaround. You know what I mean? This is the thing. This is where you want, number one, the players to seize the opportunity, but also if they're backing him, then they got to seize this opportunity as well now. You know what I mean? When, he can't just create a spark and then they don't help him, Exactly.
You can't tell us to be patient with him and tell us to have faith in him when you brought in someone who's never been a manager. It's up to you to build that faith in us. It's up to you to build that hope and optimism. And in the summer, they didn't do that. And it didn't work out well for them. The last 3 months, the pressure has increased, more eyes are opening. So this January, again, the pressure's increased tenfold because a lot more people are aware of the situation. I don't think, listen, people will get carried away with the result today. It's natural. But at the same time, I feel like there's a lot more people that will take a step back and understand that this is really nothing in the big scheme of things. January is everything. You are right, Brighton and West Brom, big games because of where we are. And if we do, not win either game, to be honest, we should be winning both. Then this win today doesn't really mean anything at all, because we need to build on it, get consistent, move into January, do business early, not just do business early. And that's ins and outs. And then that's a change, because this club is not used to being proactive. So if we see proactivity from them, then at least then we can have something to have faith and hope in.
We need, come January, he needs to go and buy a couple more Martinellis, don't he?
Well, that in terms of mentality and character, Rob, that's exactly the type of players. Saka, Martinelli, even Emil Smith-Rowe today, and over the past few appearances for him. There's something about them, On the other hand, you see maybe, and I don't want to be harsh on certain players, but then you see maybe an Eddie Nketiah or a Willock, and I don't see that character or mentality from them. And this is the tough decisions we're going to have to make. It's all good and well trusting in academy, trusting in players that have been here all these years. Bellerin had a very good game today. Before we even scored, he set up a chance for Martinelli in the first minute. He set up a chance for Emil Smith-Rowe. They both should have scored. They both didn't. Bellerin had a good game today. Does that mean my opinion of him changes, or anyone's opinion should change? No. That means we hope that his price tag might have increased or become stagnant for once in the last few months. And at least then we can, get some value, move on from a lot of these players. A top corner free kick from Xhaka doesn't change my opinion of him. It doesn't change my opinion of him, and it doesn't change the fact that he should have been gone from this club before because of things he's done with the captain's armband and even a few weeks ago. He doesn't take ownership of his issues, and the mentality and character of Martinelli is something we need throughout the squad. And it's embarrassing that it's a teenager that's doing it, Rob. How can
the teenagers have to come in and show them the way?
Yeah, you'd expect Louise, Willian, and these sort of players with the experience and age behind them to be that sort of character, that sort of mentality. But no, because we take them from rivals that don't really care. If you bring an experience like maybe Chelsea when they brought Thiago Silva over from PSG, he's coming into a new league. PSG are not a local rival of Chelsea. So he's got something there that he wants to prove himself in England at Chelsea. Whereas if you're taking a player from another team down the road, they've proved it in London. They've proved it in Premier League. What have they come here to prove? Nothing. All they're proving is they're here for an extra year of their contract before they move on to wherever they move on to, MLS, India, China, Qatar, wherever. We've got massive work to do, and that starts in January. And January is in, 5-6 days, Rob? I need to see proactivity. Arteta said Edu has the plan. The plan needs to have action now. This words is words. I see very little action from this club. So be excited, be patient, get to work. That's what I say. Get to work.